Sound that fits you. JBL True Wireless Headphones.
Good morning, I'm Dr. Christopher Dunch. Today we're going to be operating on Rose Keller. Patient presented with severe back pain diagnosed as a herniated disc. It is important we are in and out with as little fanfare as possible. So, mouth shut, ears open. Let's begin.
Hey, doctor. I heard you came across some of Christopher Dunch's surgeries.
Sir, there's a lot of bleeding.
Focus on your job.
How is the patient?
Perfect. There's a hemorrhage here, you need to fix it.
So there were no complications?
I don't have complications.
I can't make sense of this.
It's like he knew what he was supposed to do.
And he did the exact opposite.
I could have told you the guy was a hack. What did he do?
Dorothy Burke walked in all on her own, and now she's brain dead.
Today will be minimally invasive.
He turned him into a quadriplegic.
Work ethic was second to none.
Well, Ted Bundy was a good worker, too.
We all make mistakes.
But not you.
No man.
Dunch has 2 deaths. Texas has executed people for less.
All due respect, Dr. Kirby, you don't understand the law.
You don't understand who we're after.
Dunch is never going to stop on his own. You have to protect the public and suspend his license.
My patients mean everything to me, and the longer I'm here, the longer they're in pain.
You heard these people. You saw what he did to them.
I swear I will make sure this never happens to anyone else.
If you take my license in Texas, there's an entire world out there.
The system is broken.
I have a suggestion. It's a bit extreme. He's either the most incompetent surgeon I've ever crossed paths with, or he's a sociopath.
Hey everyone, and welcome! Today we are going to be reviewing the Jaws 1 and 2. We're not going to do 3 because we found out the movies were a lot longer than we expected. Which
we can touch on it.
we can still touch on it though. Still, it's good to have everyone here. Also, I want to welcome back Puganator2020 and BilliePetal to the show. Good to have you guys back.
Hi.
Hello.
And honestly, I'm actually kind of glad you did choose Jaws. For the most part, because even though and I'm actually going to say this to you guys right now, live on camera, I rescind my comment earlier when I mentioned Jaws 2, because I rewatched it, and I got to admit, it was actually not that bad. I was being very harsh. And yeah, I was being a little harsh on 3 as well, but 4 and 5, I'm never going to forgive.
Well, I'm not wildly fond of 4. What's 5?
Yeah, apparently they made a 5th one.
Jaws 2. Really?
It's pretty bad, guys. But yes, we're going to be reviewing the first Jaws film and then the second one. The third one we may do in the future for another video. But for right now, so what do you guys think of Jaws in its entirety personally for when you guys first watched it?
The very first one?
The very first time you ever watched the first Jaws.
Oh, it terrified me.
Yeah.
It terrified me. I've never seen anything like it.
Spectacular.
I think I was only like 7 years old and I pissed my pants. No, I'm not gonna be. Hey, I was only 7 years old, guys, and I was not necessarily back then a big fan of horror movies. So, a reaction like that was understandable, considering that I did. You could even ask Puganator. She knows I did not like horror movies when I was a child.
Right.
That is true.
Oh Lord, it's only until now, like I gotten older, I really started appreciating the art of horror films. And what they've done in a way with practical effects, storytelling and all that, it's actually pretty impressive. And what they have to deal with on a regular basis. So, we're going to start off with the first Jaws movie. Personally, one of my favorite movies from Steven Spielberg of all time when it comes to everything he's done, even from Jurassic Park. Good Lord, there's a lot of amazing movies.
List,
yeah, a long list. He's made great movies and shows, but Jaws is definitely my number one. So, what do you guys think your overall score is going to be for this movie in particular? Remember, a score of 1 to 50.
I'm gonna say probably like a 47.
Wow.
I'll say a 49.
My God. Okay. Work for me, pen. Oh, jeez. I think I might be out of ink. Oh, wait, no, there it goes. For me, I'm actually going to go 48 here. As you can all see, we praise this movie like hell. But, yeah, honestly, I'm not surprised, though. Considering the long history that Jaws has had on the film industry as a whole, there's nothing you can really do to really compare it.
Right.
It truly was the one that gotten the whole shark craze to everybody, as well as just overall how amazing it is as an overall film.
Right.
So
this is pretty shocking compared when you find out all the issues that they had with the filming. It still managed to be one of the most,
one of the highest grossing films.
It was pop cultural references are through the roof with this one.
it's the highest grossing horror film of all time, and it still holds that title to this day.
Nice.
Considering that, if you adjust for inflation, of course, but still, it's almost like how I found out that Gone with the Wind is still the highest grossing film of all time, even though that movie was made in the 1930s.
Right.
Which is insane to say the least, just how old that movie is, and yet it's still, if you go for inflation, it's several $1 billion.
Made in the 30s?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a very old movie, and it's a fantastic movie. Perfect writing, perfect characters, perfect story. It was possibly one of the best films you'll ever watch. And it's a romantic movie, surprisingly enough. And it's so good, though. They really took advantage of the great actors of the time and really made a good story out of it. Great script, everything. It's, like I said, there's a reason why it still holds as one of the highest grossing films of all time.
Right.
Alright, now let's start off with story for Jaws. Honestly, I do love the Jaws storyline. It's pretty freaking good.
Well, it does the whole, because you don't know the motivation of the shark, so as the villain, it's more terrifying because you don't understand why he's doing this. Or
basically,
it could be a girl. We don't know. It's never clarified.
They call it Bruce, though, but...
They do call it Bruce.
So, not in the movie. Not in the movie.
Right.
It's
not in the movie, no.
He's not called Bruce in the movie.
Bruce is up to his old antics again. He just ate Bob. Dear, oh dear.
3, though, has it's a female.
Right.
So,
They make that clear.
Not to mention, according to it, it's a different shark every time.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But in the first Jaws movie, the only reason why they called it Bruce was actually offset, and it was mainly just for how much trouble, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Right.
When we get to it.
It's cool how they, you don't know the motivation and you don't know why he's doing it, but he just keeps coming and he doesn't stop. So that's, as far as villains go, that's intense, that's terrifying, I like too that the mayor and the town council as a whole are also a secondary villain throughout the whole plot. Because
that's true.
They really are.
They completely.
They're more like antagonists.
Disregard everything that's.
They're totally
warned.
Indifferent to their people, their own citizens getting eaten.
Yeah.
Including the tourists.
And the tourists, they're like, go ahead, chum the waters. As long as we get paid.
Yeah, and guess what results in that?
Well, they didn't believe it. They didn't want to believe it.
It's like showing the animal and the people as one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just realized something. Shark Week is coming up soon. So
it is.
It's actually kind of a coincidence we're doing this review. But honestly, for what it's worth, though, yeah. And guess what resulted in that one? A dead child.
When is Shark Week start?
Shark Week starts next week, actually, in June.
I think,
That's wild.
Yeah, Discovery Channel needs to pay us.
That's so sad. That's so sad about that little boy.
Yeah. Basically,
Well,
they're not afraid to kill anyone.
We're
But
skipping
however,
ahead because the iconic death is the first death, which is the girl at the party.
Yes,
the
that
girl at the start where she was swimming out there with the rest of her group still over.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's such an American tradition, like a bonfire at night on the beach, teenagers getting drunk, and it's all serene and happy, and then horrible.
Yeah, I remember this movie came out. Movie came out before the slasher movies really started taking hold.
And that really freaked me out.
Yeah, it's
that
dark.
Scene.
It's dark.
Because I was pretty young.
The noises that she makes are really that stays with you.
Yeah, it stays with you.
Yeah, actually, the cool thing is that we found this out earlier is that they actually had 2 people tied connected to her through the waist here with a rope. And they actually were jerking her from side to side, making it look like she was being thrashed around, which honestly is pretty realistic. You see victims like that getting thrashed around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool that they did that.
Yeah, they totally hit that one out of the park.
Yeah, it's very clever.
Yeah. Sheriff Brody, freaking awesome character. I'm glad he was in the movie. Same goes with Hopper and, of course, I think it's Hopper or Hooper.
Hopper.
Hopper. I just want to make sure.
They don't give them a lot of time to develop the characters, but the actors portray them so well that they're not only are they just so endearing, but they're also like pop cultural references themselves. Now they're iconic as well.
Yeah, not to mention some of the people in the town that you see walking around. Those were the actual townspeople. Even the
that's cool.
even the grudgy, the grudgy fisherman that is driving around, and he's one of the victims who has had his head found in the boat.
Their fathers would never.
Let their mothers. He's actually a local who improvised all of his lines, including one line that was done by the fisherman when he, I think it was right in the scene after he scratches at the.
Quint.
Yeah, Quentin. Yeah. He after he actually used one of his lines and actually used it in that scene. It was actually pretty cool.
That's very cool.
Not to mention, the line, "We're gonna need a bigger boat." That was also improvised. A lot of these lines were improvised by the actors, which is insane.
That scene between Brody and Sean, the littlest boy, that was totally improvised, where they're mimicking each other.
Oh yeah.
Most of Mrs. Brody, Ellen's lines are improvised by her, the actress that played her. She got like zip in dialogue,
and I think
but
that's
she's
amazing.
Still wildly endearing. You know?
I think that's amazing that they allowed him.
That they did,
that.
That shows you like where Steven Spielberg's mind was at the time. He was pretty like,
and some directors and producers are a little bit more relaxed about improvisation.
Yeah, like George Lucas for one. He actually was very relaxed when it comes to some of the stuff he did. Encouraging new ideas for like different worlds, different experiences, that sort of stuff.
Make the role your own.
Including like Ray Park. He actually let him do a lot of his own stunts during the lightsaber duels.
Yeah.
So, and since he was a expert martial artist, that makes sense that he would be the one to actually go and do all those stunts himself.
Right.
And but there's also directors like Stanley Kubrick who need to have this done the right way and all that stuff. So I'm glad that Steven Spielberg was one of those people that was very relaxed about letting the actors do their thing and making them feel like they are part of this world.
Right. You can tell that there was, despite all the technical issues, they still had a lot of fun filming.
Yeah. And honestly, I do like and the death scenes are actually pretty impressive, but we'll talk about them in a moment, especially since the movie was rated PG.
Right.
Back when PG meant something. The only reason why I said that, folks, is because, PG is now pretty much just, it's not even worth it anymore. Even PG-13's like, oh, we have to get teenagers in the seats.
Right.
Good Lord. I swear, cinema has just absolutely become so stupid nowadays. Anyway, what would you guys give the story for this particular movie?
10.
10? Alright, so we got our first 10 of this one right here.
Well, I'm going to say 9, because they don't give you a whole lot of, if you missed the one scene where Sheriff Brody says, oh yeah, we moved from New York and da-da-da, that's it. That's there's no real backstory on how everybody, you know what I mean? It's all very implied, he's, you know what I mean, how he got hired and taken on, that none of that's really...
Well, it was based on a book.
Right, of course.
I'm still going to give it a 10 regardless, though.
I'm just saying that it's the actors did a great job with what they were given.
He applied for a job that he wanted, and he got it.
The story doesn't have to be complex.
No, but
that's the best part about some stories. Some stories can be complex.
The whole point of Rob Zombie's Halloween is the plot. Remember, all the backstory. So
that is true.
See where I'm coming from, y'all?
That is true.
Don't hate. I got a point, yo.
That is true. But I think the movies back then would try to not explore too much of the backstory sometimes and focus mainly on the story itself of what's happening in the here and now.
Right. It's a very simple story, though.
Which honestly works out to his favor.
Starts killing.
Yeah.
That's why I'm giving it a 9, because it's not a deep,
Yeah. Alright, now let's go on to characters. And we've already named several of them already. And honestly, my favorite are the main 3. Hopper, Brody, and Quentin. Those 3, Oh, it's Quint? I thought it was Quentin.
No.
I have a friend named Quentin, that's the reason why. But yeah, so Quint, Hopper, and Brody, they're a really good group of people that they really chose for the movie. Everyone else acts very well, too.
I love his wife. I love the kids.
Yeah, I feel like again, there's not a whole vast amount of character development, but they do so great.
Yeah.
At,
with what they are
given.
Yeah.
The actors really stand out, and they really endear you, and you really care about them. It's really shocking when certain characters, no spoilers, die.
Yeah, of course.
So they did a great job. The acting is phenomenal in this film.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I like...
and it feels very easy, breezy.
One scene I love, and this is actually what got me into World War II history in a way, was Quint's story in the when he was on the boat with the other two. About the Indianapolis. I found it was the Indianapolis specifically. Right. And that ship delivered the atomic bomb that was going to be dropped on Hiroshima. Unfortunately, their ship got hit by a torpedo and it sank. And while over 700 men were all in the water, only around 300 managed to
live through it.
Right.
Or get rescued.
Just the 300 were the ones that hit the water alive. There were very few that even made it out alive of that whole situation to begin with.
Barely over 100. It was like 116 or something that lived.
Around less than around 100. Around 90 to 100. Wow. Yeah. There were not that many survivors from that attack because most of them died from the sharks, which is sad to say. And yes, it's a true story. I actually did get to talk to a couple of veterans who survived that incident, and it's actually kind of scary every time I hear them talk about it, because I would not want to be in their shoes at that time. It's the reason why a couple of those veterans I talked to are now have a fear of water because of those
of course. Things. That would make sense.
But, yeah.
I have a fear of water. After Jaws, too.
But you get what I mean, though. It's actually it's actually pretty cool when they bring real life events into a horror movie.
It is. That is a very cool trick because it grounds you more. It brings you back to this could really happen. It brings you back to reality.
This could happen.
This plot that's over the top of this truth, moment could really happen in our town.
Yeah, more likely it's gonna happen anywhere. Oh yeah, the Jaws creature will never happen, or if it does, then God help you.
Well, we're pretty far from the water, aren't we?
But for us though, but if you're out at sea and you're in shark-infested waters, that could still happen, and I think that's the reason why a lot of people were afraid, because I think that story he told set the tone for what they were going to be dealing with for the rest of the film.
Yeah. That's why I don't go out to sea.
You have to have a healthy respect and responsibility when you're in an uncontrollable element. It's
Absolutely.
just that it's not just the sharks and all that. It's the water. It's the current. You have to keep your shit together.
Not to mention, I also think that this is
keep
also
your wits about ya.
True, but I also
might go on a cruise. Have to be a pretty
Gotta
big
know how to
boat.
swim first. That's all I'm saying.
I know how to swim. Very good.
I would love to.
But it would have to have
behind a cruise liner.
Yeah, it would have to have a lot of lifeboats.
But basically, what I was about to say is that I also think that this is this is also the movie that also kind of inspired shark fear amongst the public, which is why they started hunting them more and more.
Right. That's the horrible backfires that people really.
They took it a little too seriously.
This was just a movie. This is just a piece of art.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't necessarily.
They're not
go out
going
and
to kill you.
Yeah.
I actually saw an article through Ocean X about how many close encounters people have had with sharks.
They think you're a seal.
Right. Well, that haven't
because
been
you're thrashing about.
Right,
yeah.
But there's also hundreds upon hundreds of close encounters with sharks that people are completely unaware. Because the shark isn't wanting to feed, the only time they attack is when they're hungry,
And if they're threatened, and if you're moving around, and they're going to think you're a seal or something.
Right, it's survival. It's just like another.
They have to eat too.
Exactly.
Actually,
it's
take
not
a look
like a personal vendetta.
Take a look at the.
There's no such thing.
Yeah, take a look at the MythBusters episode when they did an actual experiment with Grant and Tori, both being in the water. One was thrashing about, and the other one was staying perfectly still.
Right.
With Grant, he was thrashing about, and yes, he does have a big fear of fish. Well, technically sharks, but still. When he got touched and was thrashing about, the sharks were all going after him while Tori was just sitting there perfectly still.
Were they in the ocean?
Yeah.
So
And-
like in those cages or something?
No.
Oh, I wouldn't have done it then.
No, no. The sharks that they were with weren't hungry. They were curious about what he was
they're just
doing.
checking him out.
Heck, they were just bumping into him, wondering what in the world is he doing.
Right.
I still wouldn't do it though.
Like I said, not all most shark breeds are not completely hostile.
I'd only go down in a cage. I would not go.
The only time they're ever hostile is if you're
way.
bleeding and thrashing about.
Right. Because it's a hunger thing. It's a
Yeah.
survival thing. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
not
but
personal.
but we can't gauge when they're going to be hungry.
No, of course not.
So I'd rather
you can't
just
gauge
avoid it.
when a lion is going to be hungry or if a lemur's going to throw poo at you at the zoo. There's no
That's
you know.
true. Rivalries
Yeah, if you
and
think
anything.
about, and the reason
They're
why
animals.
we're talking about this is because Jaws is is basically the main character of the whole movie.
The
And
entire. Yeah.
in a way, discussing about sharks in a way really does help develop why they created this creature in the first place.
Right.
Which is honestly not a bad thing. Don't worry about that. That was actually an alarm or something. But
No, we have owls in the room.
Excuse me.
I
I'm
wish.
sorry, it's an alert. It was a.
Hey, I want Hedwig on my arm.
I know, right? Hell yes.
But yeah.
So your point though was that it backfired pretty magnificently on the true,
Yeah.
lives of
And
the
luckily
shark
enough-
population in the world.
Luckily enough, nowadays they're bringing more awareness, which
They
is why
are.
Shark Week is such a big thing on Discovery Channel.
Absolutely, it's brilliant.
And
It was
in a
brilliant.
way, Steve Irwin actually helped out with that
He
too
did.
because
We love you, Steve.
yeah, rest in peace, dude.
Rest in
Because
peace.
he's the one who actually brought to my attention just how beautiful sharks are.
He is like one of my absolute
One of the greatest
favorites.
people on this earth. Yeah,
Yes,
he was.
him
He
and
was
George
amazing.
Corwin,
Yeah.
Jeff Corwin.
Mhm.
I love him too.
Yeah,
He's
honestly,
fabulous.
I love Jack.
Oh
I
yeah,
used to watch Jack on
yeah.
TV. What's that? Was it? What's his name? Jack. Oh, I can't remember it, but it was a TV
Yes,
show on
yes.
the Cron 4,
Yes,
right?
you used to see it all the time.
Right.
still,
so funny.
honestly, what would you guys give the score for characters here?
Oh, that's a 10. I'd give it an 11 if I could, because all their amps go to 11. They're endearing.
Yeah, 10
Despite
definitely.
how little, backstory they all have and how much dialogue. There's not much dialogue in this movie.
And the
either.
acting was really good.
It was just, they were really good at
Yeah.
their jobs.
And not to mention, actually, I found
Even
this.
the kids.
Even the kids,
Yeah.
yes.
Actually, remember the story I told you about the Indianapolis and all that when he was talking about it? That's
my
the
favorite
actor.
scene.
Remember the actor who was sitting next to him and was just had his jaw dropped in awe.
Hopper.
Yeah, that was his actual reaction to the story. He had never heard it before,
Oh, okay.
so he was in complete shock. He felt like he was there.
So did Quint bring that up? The actor who played Quint, was that his, what's that called when you improvise? Did he improvise that?
Yeah,
To the
it was
story?
never mentioned in the book.
Mm.
From what I've heard, anyway. One of my friends told me about the book, and he said he read it, and he said he never heard anyone really talking about the Indianapolis yet.
I read to a point with the book.
Yeah,
It's very intense. It's all mostly narrative, but the characters are not remotely endearing. I'll put
And
it
you
that
have
way.
the book?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Luckily
I had
enough,
to stop reading it. I didn't.
Luckily enough, the
It-
movie
dig it up so I
interprets
can
them
read
better,
It's-
honestly, than the book.
It does. It makes. I think Steven Spielberg made a brilliant call with not following
The book entirely.
Peter's book. Yeah, because the characters, really are the driving force. They're the part that endears you. You want them to survive this.
Mhm.
When you have a bunch of jerks, you're like, no, go ahead, eat him right there. But. And that's, I think, if you'd followed
Like that
the
old
book
man
more,
in number 2.
Right. Yes,
Go ahead,
exactly.
eat him.
Right. If he had
ass.
followed the narrative that Peter had provided in the book, it would have been really, very dark. They're not really endearing people at all. They're not even very nice characters.
True.
Well,
in the
there's a
book.
few not very nice characters on there.
In the movie, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
movie.
But
Yeah, but
yeah,
honestly,
it's a total different world. I think.
yeah, this
like
is actually.
the mayor,
Mhm.
like the wife's boss, like that lady that owns the motel.
Right.
All of them are kind of butt heads. But I think it's because that was kind of based out of Martha's Vineyard.
Right.
And that is just a very stuffy
Very snobby.
East Coast actually can be
Snobby.
a little bit on the snobby side, period. Well, they're just different.
Not entirely.
Really.
There are some areas that aren't that bad.
That's true.
But there's a lot of the coastal areas, yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, true.
We should know, we actually lived in that area previously, and yeah, there are some areas in the near the coastal regions of the East Coast that are, no, the people are just snobby as hell.
Well, it's very money.
Yes.
And that's very evident with the town council and the mayor.
Yeah.
That's their
Heck,
primary goal.
They have beautiful
They're
homes.
over the
You want to know
line.
the strange thing is?
Right
The
there on
people
the
in New York
ocean.
City are more wholesome than those people. Yes, I am willing to give praise to the New York City. I give them my praise, still.
And you know what, Mrs. Brody, Ellen, like, she makes a remark like, "Are we going?" He's like, "I'll see you at home," and she's like, "Back in New York, right?" After Michael and Sean had that horrible encounter, yeah. So she's even saying like, "Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Let's go back to New York where they have shootings every day."
It's pretty out at the ocean, but that's.
I wouldn't want to deal with some of the people.
It takes on a whole nother type of atmosphere.
Right.
It's just a whole different atmosphere.
True. But yeah. For what it's worth, though, the characters are all just some of the best that you'll ever see in cinema.
Yeah, I liked them.
They're excellent. They're some of my favorites as well.
Let's talk about the music.
Love.
Composed by the amazing, the godlike John Williams.
Yeah, 10.
10, definitely. It's iconic.
Yeah.
You know the music before you even see the movie. You know, if you hadn't even seen it, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's the Jaws."
Yeah.
Honestly,
and how many references off the top
and
of my
it's
head?
creepy.
I can think of like 20 references to
Off
this
and on,
theme
and off and
in
on.
movies and TV shows.
Oh,
and off and on throughout the whole movie. It's just
builds tension.
It's riveting.
It also
It's
builds
just-
the adventure, the excitement.
It is. It's like tension and
Yes.
excitement.
Actually,
all
if you
in
think
one.
about it,
It's
though,
really good.
doesn't that soundtrack remind you of a few films that he's already composed?
Little bit.
Star Wars,
Star
Indiana
Wars,
Jones.
Off the top of my head, Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars,
But
Indiana
yeah,
Jones.
it does, yeah.
And of course, Jurassic Park.
I was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Tim Burton. He has a vibe with Danny Elfman. You know, they've got a vibe. They have
Exactly,
a vibe in their
exactly.
tone in their music. Yeah.
So, in the way, I actually do love just how much that John Williams did so.
He did great. He did.
This is a reason why he is known as the composing god of the movie world.
I say 10 on that.
10. Solid.
10,
For sure.
absolutely. There's no question.
I don't know how I'm gonna, manage only getting 49. So far, I'm not doing very well.
I know.
Yeah. For me, honestly, though, John Williams is one of my favorite composers in movies. Like how Martin O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore are my two favorite composers for video games. So, it takes a level of experience and expertise to really make a soundtrack that epic.
Well, and it's really engaging too because I'm just thinking about it. There are no music sound like artist songs in the film really. There's a little bit in the background every once in a while, but the score itself is the main background noise that you hear. And it's pretty stark compared to all other films. Like the props, the sets, they're all pretty stark. The music itself, or the lack of music, it's a very stark setting, and that it just adds to the level of
Anticipation.
right,
And
it pushes you forward with it. It's really clever how they did it.
yeah.
True.
I have major respect for everybody involved because
Yep,
it's
me
very
too.
unique. It's a standout film compared to all
Definitely.
other films. There's always some crap going on in the background and
In all
very
regards.
distracting.
In, their actors, and the music,
Yeah.
and their sets. It's
It
just.
still managed to be really one of the most pivotal films ever
Oh, gosh,
made.
yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, one of my friends, I was talking to him a while back about what do you think of the other shark films? Is basically what about
Sharknado.
Hold on. Sharknado.
Oh.
Hold on. He's like, what about Sharknado? He's like, oh, that's just a whole bunch of Jaws is inside a tornado. What about Megalodon? Just a bigger Jaws.
That one was fun.
And I swear,
Jaws is just
remotely-
iconic. It's just
iconic.
Exactly.
nothing's ever gonna compare
Compare.
to it. you know?
yeah, exactly. As soon as I say anything about a shark film, he's like, Jaws, Jaws, Jaws. He's like,
Right.
why do
Well,
you keep doing that? It's because
They did it seriously.
you're trying to copy what Jaws did.
Right.
Which, honestly, now that I've watched some of those movies, They are trying to do their own thing, but I could definitely tell they're taking a lot from Jaws.
Right, exactly. It's the trendsetter.
It was the movie that
beginning.
honestly gave the horror genre a huge leg up.
Right.
During those decades.
Interested in it again. Yeah.
Yeah, especially since the only horror movie that really hit people in the audiences was Psycho.
Right. Well, and
even though The Birds was still amazing, and same with all the other Alfred Hitchcock horror movies, but Psycho's the one that really got the horror genre in and itself its boost in pop culture.
Right.
I'd take Jaws over even Psycho any day. Jaws is actually one of my favorite.
Well, it's
movies.
Different because the villain,
Yeah.
you can't relate to the villain. You
Yeah.
can't you can't talk to the villain.
Yeah.
You can't try to stop the villain like by communicating in some manner. You know what I
Right.
mean? There's no or understanding the villain. There's so it's total stark contrast
That's true,
compared
completely.
to like Norman Bates or
Right.
or Jason.
Mm-hmm. Actually, here's another funny story. One of my friends is an ecomaniac. He loves animals. He's a vegetarian. And the strange thing is, when I told him, what is your favorite horror movie, he actually said Jaws. And the reason why he said this is because Jaws is my favorite character.
Yeah, well, he's
The reason
it is
why-
a character. It's
Yeah,
driven.
and the reason why he said that is because he
Ruthless.
absolutely loves how accurate how the shark attacks, how it uses its body and everything. It's pretty interesting that they managed to get away with it, making the shark act a little bit more like it, but he also said the only downside is that he could still tell it was mechanical.
Right.
It did get
well,
worse.
For the time,
It did get worse though as they went on.
right.
Through
They didn't pay as much
yeah.
respect or
They
attention or
looked
detail to
the sharks.
They look very goofy.
Yes. Yeah.
They're goofy.
Definitely.
True.
But
All right.
you also have to look at the time that they're filmed
That's
in
true.
too. You know.
Yeah, the movie
Yeah,
was
but
made
you
in
would
1975.
They could do better.
Yeah,
I would
because they've
hope.
got so much, so much better equipment and.
Yeah, I know
You know,
that the movie was
whatever,
made
you
in
know?
1975, so I think that makes sense for the time period. Especially since animatronics were still
I
getting
think they
better.
did great
They're
considering.
really expensive though. At the time, they were obscenely expensive.
Yeah, remember
they're expensive in general, but then even
Yeah,
more so.
actually, let's actually get into design now, because honestly, we need to talk about the guy who made the animatronics for the shark. The dude is amazing. He actually made the giant octopus in another horror movie he was part of. I think it was during the 50s. And, or I think it was the 60s.
And they didn't give him enough time, correct? They pushed him forward on the.
They had to
Yeah.
because the studio was asking him to push forward.
Studio always butting in, screwing stuff up.
Yeah, because I think if he would have been given a lot more time, oh lord, that shark would have just been amazing.
I would have.
Oh sure. Yeah, hang on for a moment, guys.
Cold.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, this is just
No.
this is my office in a nutshell.
Thank you.
But honestly, the design for the shark actually looks pretty cool.
I think it looks cool.
And number 1 and number 2, yes.
Yeah, number
Yeah.
3 is
Number
fun.
3 is
silly
fun
one. Yeah,
and
silly. It's not.
not
No,
as quite
it's
as
just
realistic,
it's horrible.
but-
Screw that movie when it
Yeah,
comes to
screw
the shark.
Halloween 3. Let's get into it. Go ahead.
No, let's not and say we did.
Design for the first Jaws. I have to say, because it is so stark, I'm still really impressed because it's still really like, it still looks really like full. You know what I mean? I'm trying.
It feels like
to
that.
find a word
It actually
for it.
feels real.
It does feel real. It feels like you've been plopped down in this Connecticut-esque kind of vibey town or bodega. It feels very bodega-y.
Because we actually used to go to a beach that looked almost close
Almost
to that.
identical.
The hills
Crazy.
and the
Right,
little
exactly.
fences
Yeah.
and the sand. And,
I'm gonna give it a solid 10 because
yeah, same.
even I'm still gonna give the actors their credit too because they really, it takes a lot for an actor to be in a stark environment without little props, without little engagement in the actual set, and to still portray something that's really riveting, your word, and engaging.
They actually had shark experts join in and actually get a chance to help with the production, how the shark moves, how it acts.
That shows.
And then, of course, if you guys know the scene where the shark is attacking the cage, that is actual live footage of a shark attacking a cage.
Yeah.
That is cool. That made it
Very
feel like,
cool.
I'm like, oh, holy shit.
I think if we're talking about design, we have to talk about the framing, like the infamous beach scene where it's like the vertigo moment, right?
Yeah.
Where he like holds on him and then pulls away and then slams forward. That's really cool. The whole framing of the film is really tight, really tense. Like they keep it open in space, you know, like when it's like, oh, everything's okay, everything's fine, and then they like tighten it up really hard when it's like intense, like in the scene with when they're talking about the Indianapolis. Like that's a really tightly cropped, like all you're seeing is them sitting at the table,
Right.
and you can feel the tension in that
Yep.
framing. It's brilliant. I think
Yeah,
they
they
did a
really
job.
good job on all of that.
They did.
I also like some of, like, first of all, I do like Quinn's death scene. That one, honestly, I thought
That's
that
terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently they had problems with that little issue during because they actually had to thrash him about, and unfortunately, it kept getting stuck on certain angles like this, like, and he's like,
Bruce,
could someone please get him to work?
Right.
I swear to God, though, they had so many problems with that.
Oh, I know.
What
What did Stephen call it? The Great White Turd.
The Great White
Turd.
No, it was the Great White Disaster.
No,
I think.
He had several angry remarks for it.
Yeah, and not to mention he named the shark after his lawyer who he hated so much, which honestly I wouldn't blame him because good lord, that thing was a nightmare. Even the creators of the film were like, we're gonna love watching this movie, but we're gonna hate filming this movie. And honestly, I wouldn't blame them for how much that shark had caused so much damage.
That's funny.
Not to mention, I love the set piece of the actual town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The town is really awesome.
It's so carefree. You can tell. I love when, they first open after
It's that era.
Right. Like, he's like, those kids are kicking, karate chopping my fence. Like, that's the biggest problem that's happening for the sheriff today.
Oh,
This older dude's coming in like, these kids are karate chopping
that
my
lady
fence.
is dancing around in the
second
towel.
one.
Oh,
the
yeah,
second
that's
one.
right.
Yeah.
Do something about that.
It's obvious that nothing bad's ever happened in
it's like
Amity.
this
Right.
sweet little town.
Right.
Like sweet little Bodega Bay.
People just walk in without knocking in the second one.
Yeah.
Right?
True. Yeah. Honestly, I also the set
Definitely
the actual
driven.
Yeah, the actual town looks amazing. I actually do enjoy it. It looks pretty.
It looks
freaking
like
cool.
home. Actually.
It looks like an actual place I would go to on a regular basis.
Bodega.
It does remind me of Bodega Bay.
Yeah.
Because it has sort of like a shanty town
Yeah.
vibe about it, like the main town, like the.
That's a
all
lot
the
of the
woods.
East Coast,
Right.
along the coast.
As well as, of course,
That's
even
crazy.
California has a few of those.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Bodega. It looks a lot like
Yeah,
that.
Bodega actually has some place that looks. Yeah, Tamales as well.
Point Reyes.
All those areas we've been to, we actually have seen them. They all have that same vibe,
the same look.
Yeah.
the same look, honestly, and it actually works out to its advantage. It's really nice towns that we actually went to.
Yeah.
Makes me think of Halloween 3 with the. That was kind of.
the Santa Mira, the non-existent but
Yeah,
existent
exactly.
town.
That town almost felt like something that I've actually been to
Right.
before.
It
Like
was
Bodega.
wild. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it works out in the movie's favor, in my personal opinion, because it feels like an
Absolutely.
actual town you would go to.
You would go to, yeah. A really serene, happy,
Yeah.
which makes like the actual attack of the villain, the shark, so starkly contrasting and disturbing.
True enough. And not only that, I also like I also like some of the special effects they did, like the exploding tank, which in reality it doesn't happen.
Right. Yes.
talking about
Mythbusters
the-
proved it.
Are you talking about the boat?
Yeah, remember when he was shooting the M1 at the oxygen tank? He's like, "Swallow, you son of a," and then
Oh
shoots
no, I
it.
thought you were talking about when the boat blew up.
Oh, that's the second one.
That's the second
that's
one.
right. I keep
You're
getting
jumping the
confused.
gun, dear.
When she accidentally
look at how
pours the
cocaine-
Okay,
gas.
no, that was just stupid on her
Yeah.
part, but we'll get to that movie in a
Films
minute.
Are that you
Yeah,
keep
that's
mixing
true.
them up.
They are
Little
pretty-
credit.
Yeah, that is pretty. They are pretty cohesive,
They
though.
are. It's like Halloween too. It's it runs
Yeah.
smoothly into
Yeah.
the other one, even though
Yeah.
clearly
Yeah.
some time
Yeah.
is gone. Everyone's way more tanned. Jeez.
Honestly, for what it's worth, though, the movie's design is absolutely pretty freaking amazing.
It
For
is,
what
it's
it was
great.
worth.
They did
For
a
as much
phenomenal
trouble
job.
as they had, God bless all their souls, but damn it, they made one hell of a movie. Now we're gonna go for the atmosphere of the film.
Oh, it's great. You can feel like the tension building with the even like politically, not just the scare of the shark, but the town hall, like the town council and the mayor.
And the mayor.
That's like this underlining pressure, this underlining tension. Like that's great. They did an excellent job. It's hella creepy. It's hella disturbing. It's like enraging because you're like that would happen in a real
damn you
town.
Would you like listen to Brody?
Right? Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
They totally risk their own people and the tourists, their own children.
Yep.
My kids were on that beach too. Yeah. Ass. It's a great atmosphere.
Right.
It's super frustrating. It's creepy.
Yeah.
It's tense.
Honestly, it's just amazing what they managed to pull off with each scene. Each scene feels like a situation that could happen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it builds the tension. It builds the suspense.
It does.
And then when it finally happens and someone actually dies, you feel the tragedy there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think too, like I like.
And not to mention, I like the reaction of the people that when she does put that post of the $3,000. No, it's just atmosphere.
What?
Why? Why?
Oh, because I was gonna rate it a 10, and foiled my score.
All right, so basically a 10 for you on atmosphere.
Yeah, because but honestly, like I said before, Jaws has probably got to be one of my all-time favorite movies.
Right,
though.
of course. I like how
all around
they sort of imply that it's gonna be like this big climactic ending when they're shooting the barrels at him, right? And then it's like, boom, nope, it didn't happen. Ain't nothing happening. He's gone. And then we have the infamous, scene down in the undercarriage. Is that the right word for a boat? Probably not.
I don't know.
Around the table when they're talking about the Indianapolis. I thought that was interesting. The bottom of the boat. No, I think that's the actual, bottom of the boat when you're. Yeah.
Okay, the hull.
So they're like, no, that's the outside of the ship. Is the hull, right? The bottom.
So you're talking about like the little cabin.
The little cabin.
I don't know what that's called.
The under cabin. That's our word for it.
Yeah. I don't know what it's really called.
I thought that was impressive.
I don't think it's under cabin.
If you guys can answer that question, please put in the chat.
I love how Spielberg, he builds that all up, that scene with the barrels, this is it, this is gonna happen, and then it's like, nope, sorry.
I actually like how when they hit him with the barrel, he's swimming off, and then all of a sudden the barrel sinks, they're like, oh, right. Jesus.
You can see, the Quentin
exactly.
Shit. Whoa, that's not good.
I also like that part.
Wasn't supposed to happen like that.
Oh, I also like how that Brody is shoveling the chum in there, and then all of a sudden the shark pops up. He gets back. He's like, "We're gonna need a bigger boat."
One of the most iconic lines. I can name 5 different films and TV shows.
I can name at least a total of 25 that have that line alone.
Right, it's
even TV shows.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Xander from Buffy says it.
Like I said,
he's the blonde, right?
No.
Which one is he?
He's the dark-haired one. He's the sort of goofy one. He's
He's the comedy relief, basically.
Yeah. He is. We love him.
For what it's worth,
he's the one that Dessa named her son after.
Oh, I did not know that.
Okay, so remember when I made her the little shirt with the Sunnyvale mascot? That was all why.
Oh my God!
That was why, because she named him after.
I did not know that.
Wow.
Jesus Christ!
Jeez, that's bad.
And the crazy thing is, my cousin Xander is actually born on my birthday, so that tells you something.
Very true. Very true.
Oh,
that's crazy.
I can't believe you didn't. Okay.
Anyway, still though, the atmosphere of the movie
was... Well, she never told me that story.
Yeah, she never told me that either.
Okay, well, you guys clearly don't know Buffy, so...
I do. I've watched the show at least
I've watched it, but I'm not a Buffy addict.
Oh, yeah, not me.
No.
Because the one that I liked the best
obsessed when we were teenagers.
Was the blonde.
Well, that's Spike.
Yes,
everyone loves
Michelle Gellar. Yeah, I know her.
He's our favorite. Please.
Yeah, the blonde guy.
Spike.
Oh, and
Spike.
him. Yeah, Spike.
Yeah, not Angel.
I liked him.
Not Angel, no. Spike.
Oh, I liked Angel too.
Oh, Lord.
I do.
Hey,
Why don't you like Angel? Okay, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, they're
episode.
They're about to absolutely go on a full-on rant with these characters.
It's a crossover.
It's not a bad thing. Maybe we might do that show in the future. Honestly, I think that'd be pretty interesting. That means I'm gonna have to watch the show, which, good Lord, I haven't seen that show in over 15, 20 years.
It's like a pop culture reference unto itself too. So.
But yeah, honestly, for what it's worth, though, the atmosphere was set very much.
It was.
Like the dreads, even though it was very calm, like you said for the beginning, and then all of a sudden the girl's getting attacked.
You, right, with tension.
Yeah,
fear.
it gives you that sense of horror, like, oh shit,
Right.
it just got
my
real.
stomach's kind of
Yeah.
like tense through the
Through
whole movie.
Yeah, they did
pretty
a great
much,
job.
yeah.
It's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, I find myself, okay, Dawn, breathe. You know?
All right.
Yeah, or Puganator, breathe.
True enough on that one. When I first watched the film when I was younger, I was terrified.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I didn't even like going to
However,
the
when I
bathroom
got
because there was
older-
water in the toilet.
Jesus.
Yeah, I had a moment.
For me, well, it was right around the time that I got older, I really started appreciating the film. And then, of course, when I saw the extras on some stuff I watched, I'm like, well, shit. Well, now I appreciate the guys even more for making the film.
Right.
Mhm.
All the
Yeah,
hell
do
that they went through.
Basically, it was a living hell with that shark alone. Everything
Right.
else was just a pain in the ass.
Right.
So, now we're tallying up the final score. Des...
Excuse me, what?
I've already said your name so many times, you already know, but...
It's alright.
But yeah, Billy, your original score was 47. Your new score is 49. And as for you and me, Puganator, we both got 50 for our final score. Our original scores are 49-48.
Nice.
So, yeah, we can't do a retro evolution with this one.
No, it's perfect.
Mhm.
Love it.
Yeah.
There is nothing you could do.
It's, you know,
To
I was,
really
I
make
was
it
thinking
better.
about that. I'm like, you know, there's horror movies where you're like, my God,
Clearly
we really
you can-
need to have this
yeah,
lame
clearly
ass
you
scene,
can. Clearly
right?
you
We
can.
could cut that out.
Yeah.
You know, but
There's really
nothing.
nothing that I would cut out
No.
or change
I
about
love,
that movie.
I love all of it.
Yeah, honestly,
Sheriff
it's a...
Brody, you were uptight.
Yeah.
I love that whole movie.
Yeah, honestly, it is possibly one of the greatest horror films of all time, and I don't think it'll ever be topped.
Right, and it's
And
terrifying.
even like the lady that I don't like that owns the motel.
Right.
Even her, she was almost like necessary.
She is, yeah.
To come up with that era and that
So you
that
know where
type
the characters stand.
yeah,
and, you know
that
yeah.
type of the era and the type of people you're dealing
Right,
with.
the people
you
you're
know?
dealing with. The
And
town
the
council.
town you're
Right,
dealing
yeah.
with.
It gives
Yep.
motive to why the town council is such a bunch of assholes.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
Because the townspeople are kind of assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, you also understand why...
Oh, you get it.
Yeah.
Because
Like,
they are
I
a
wouldn't
tourist
risk
town.
people's lives.
Yes, tourist
know?
towns
I
oftentimes.
mean, in the least, you could put up a sign that said, dude, you know, swim at your own risk because there's a big evil shark, you know, chomping.
Yeah, exactly. If you did that, then maybe they wouldn't swim out as deep.
Right.
Right. They'd only go
You can
into
still go on the
A
beach
little
and swim,
bit,
just
you know,
not
thought
too far.
For
Knees
the
or
lives
thighs.
of their, you know,
Yeah.
people they're sucking the money out of would have
Yeah,
been nice,
yeah.
but then they wouldn't have been so villainous.
Because most of
you
what
know?
was out there were kids.
Right.
Yeah, and,
Scary.
well,
But
we've
it-
already
again,
seen one of them
it's-
die.
Right. Poor Alex Kittner. But it
Honestly,
does show
I even
how
understand.
evil the town's council and the townspeople, like, they are villainous.
not-
They're villainous. They're
totally
callous. They're indifferent.
Unempathetic.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
One more thing is that I also understand Alex Kittner's mother's reaction,
Oh, yeah.
especially when she slapped
That's
the sheriff.
fair.
Yeah,
Because
That's fair.
for as much as we do root for the hero, he didn't let anyone know about
Right.
the whole shark attack beforehand.
Well, the
first
town
one
council
before that.
wouldn't.
Yeah, they
Let
forced him
him.
to shut
He
up.
would have gotten
Yeah.
fired like he
Personally,
did
I
in the
think they
second
should have.
film,
I
so-
think I think that she should have slapped the
The
mayor.
The mayor, yeah.
True, but at the same time,
Not
she
Brody.
didn't know.
Yeah, I know.
Right. So
Of
it's
all
fair.
things-
It's totally fair.
Yeah,
for
from her
reaction for her to
perspective,
slap
he
him.
was
He's
responsible,
supposed to
not the
protect-
council.
Her
He's supposed to
reaction
protect the
was
people.
fair.
It was justified.
It just
Not
to whom
the
it
Aimed
was.
at the wrong person.
Well, again, though, I mean, had Sheriff Brody stood up and said, you know what, guys, mayor, town council,
Fire me
fuck
then.
you, I'm going to close the
Yeah.
beach, you know, he would have gotten fired just like he did in the second film, you know?
Yeah.
So, you can see, like, it's a complex situation. And
True
they
enough.
present that really well. And that scene is so, like, jarring, like, you can feel it in your, like, soul when she slaps the crap out of him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It
You
was
felt
shocking. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like a jolt
Yeah.
through your body.
You could
like,
feel it
damn.
yourself.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
honestly,
shame, you can tell he's
Yes.
so ashamed that he didn't
Yes.
do more for her son,
Yeah.
and, you know.
Yeah, he
Well,
couldn't
because he has
protect him.
kids of his own.
Right, exactly.
You know?
So honestly, I think that's another scene that absolutely puts this film from an amazing horror film to just one of the greatest classics of all time.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
It
it made
is.
you feel for every character
Yep.
in that movie.
Right.
Even
And
the side
every-
characters.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
everything
really rare
in
for a
it
movie
was,
to
like,
do.
pivotal.
Right.
It's
You know?
very rare for a film to actually do that much.
Yeah, to where
Across
you
the board.
to where you even feel empathy and sadness and anger towards even the ones that you are just the minor characters.
Oh, the dog.
Oh, I know. Yeah, the dog.
Come on, that was horrible.
That was horrible. Yeah.
I love the chaos of the boat scene when they all first go out to get the reward for the shark. You know,
Right,
that
right.
was like. That's a whole different level of fear. You know,
And think
that's
about-
not. That's
yeah.
just like that's human fear. Like that's humans doing something so
Damn
chaotic
reckless.
and reckless that you're like, well, I could get seared with the fucking ship and lose an eye or something. You know what I mean? Like or a limb, just from the stupidity of my fellow human beings.
Yeah, because they
you know?
were all reacting.
They were very
freaking crazy.
The whole thing is like a reaction to it.
True, but yet think about it.
Panic
It's $3,000 back in 1975. That is a fortune.
That's a good amount of money. It is. It's totally understandable that people would go crazy.
Exactly.
Totally.
Hell, if I would have gone out there. Because good
Plus-
lord, that's a lot of money.
Plus, it's ruining all those townspeople's
remember,
livelihood because a lot of them
Right.
are like boaters, restaurateurs, motels.
Well, and it also takes a little bit of sympathy away from the actual townspeople.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, you're all a bunch of greedy assholes.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? You're reckless,
Actually,
and
one of
dangerous,
the-
and stupid.
Actually, I found out that some of those people that went out to search for the shark,
Are-
some of them were the tourists.
Right, some of them were. But it's I think it shows it takes sympathy away from the human element.
Exactly. And
That's
to a
what I
certain
was trying
degree,
to
it
get
gives
to.
more sympathy to the shark.
It does, because you're like, look at these assholes. Go ahead, eat it. Go eat. Go ahead, eat them.
It's actually really insane, personally, because... You okay?
What was that?
You tried to eat an ice cube, didn't you?
Yeah, but it was
Oh, God.
too big and too cold.
Oh, I know how that is. But honestly, though, the movie, you just can't go wrong. It's one of those films that will forever be in the hearts and minds of the public. It's the movie that basically helped revolutionize the horror genre as a whole.
Right, right.
More than even Halloween had ever done.
Yeah.
More than Friday the 13th. More than Nightmare on Elm Street.
It was
more than
more of
Scream.
a classic like The Birds.
Right. Well, it's a monster
It
movie.
wasn't
It's really-
necessarily like
It's not
so
necessarily
scary.
It was a
like,
monster movie that was
slashery
set
scary.
more in reality
Yeah.
than
Right.
it was anything
Exactly,
else.
'cause
No
it's not-
supernatural.
It's not a
Birds.
supernatural. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not supernatural monsters. They're actual, just alive creatures on our Earth here, and that's way more frightening than something coming out of the.
Exactly.
You know.
It's almost like how Scream
Cosmos.
mainly did, even though it was making fun of a lot of horror tropes, it was set in a more reality when it comes to how killers would normally think.
Right.
And all that stuff, and the psychology of the characters. Psycho brought a human horror element, since psychos can come from anywhere, especially with Norman Bates. And then of course we have Jaws, the movie we're reviewing now, which honestly gives a more animalistic element to it, and
Right.
again, still set in reality. It's the reason why those films are still praised even to this day for their natural element
Right.
rather than the supernatural.
Exactly. That's perfectly put. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that we didn't say too much about Hopper, but I feel like Hopper, Quint, and Brody are like the three elements of people. So Brody's like very unknowledgeable about the water or sharks in general, and then you have like a scientist who's I know all about
Right.
sharks, and then you have I know all about boats with Quint, and the three of them balance themselves at like you can relate to either one
Yeah.
of them at any given point. It's really the whole as a whole the film
Yeah.
they did a great job.
Yeah.
They did an awesome job.
Yeah,
you know?
honestly, it's fantastic. I don't think you'll ever find a movie like that ever again.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Like a natural element monster movie. you know?
Yeah, because now you see sharks everywhere, and even they're more in the supernatural now.
Right.
They're ridiculous now.
Although Lake Placid was fun.
Oh yeah, that was
Fun,
That
yeah.
wasn't sharks though. That was alligators.
Yeah,
It's
But
alligators,
it's
but-
a natural element
Yes,
monster,
that's true, that's
and
true.
it was a hoot.
Yes.
True, but that's the thing,
That
though.
movie's a hoot.
Yes.
It's not necessarily taking itself seriously
Oh no,
compared
not
to
at
the
all.
rest.
Not at all.
Where-
Jaws definitely sets a standard for taking itself seriously, while having elements of humor in there. There's some great humor in it.
Exactly.
But the actual story itself is very serious, and I think if you're going to pull off a natural monster vibe kind of film, that you need to focus like that, because otherwise it's just ridiculous.
True enough.
You have Sharknado. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's the reason why. That's the reason why.
Right.
That's the reason why I will always love this film, and why it will always be one of the greatest horror movies of all time.
I think Deep Blue Sea touched on it a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more of an action, silly kind of a movie, but the shark.
It's action.
It was animatronic.
It's
Not
action.
animatronic, but it was
CG.
Based, well, no, but what I meant was enhanced.
Right.
They
were basically the sharks were genetically enhanced. Yes.
It's more of a natural nature monster element kind of a vibe.
Personally, I think it was more monster.
They did good.
I think it was more monster than it was natural.
But because he was enhanced by chemicals and this kind of stuff,
science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little different.
There's nothing that'll ever come out like Jaws, the first film did. But I
No.
feel like Deep Blue Sea
that was
gets
closer,
like slightly closer than Sharknado or what is the other?
Some of the other stupid ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Ghost Shark.
In fact, it was
Excuse
funny
me?
because I
Ghost
was just
Shark.
trying to remember
We
Deep
watched
Blue
that,
Sea.
right?
Yes. I was just trying to remember Deep Blue Sea's the name because I was thinking the same thing
Right.
earlier. I was thinking
It takes
that's
it more
probably the
serious.
closest you're gonna ever come.
It's the serious that you serious list
Yes.
the seriousest that you get to Jaws, the first film.
Yes. Yeah.
True enough, and honestly, it's
It's as serious. That was the phrasing. Excuse me.
I don't think that other one was a word in the
Not a
dictionary.
word. It's not a word. It's a my word. Thank you.
We're still roomy.
Yeah, I think in some aspects, I know that some people, it was definitely interesting I know a couple of my friends who still have a fear of sharks because...
oh yeah, there's a healthy respect one must have for a wild creature.
Amen,
Yeah.
sister.
Yeah,
and then a wild element.
Like I
the
don't
ocean.
go in the ocean above my knees. No.
Yeah, but see,
Maybe in Hawaii.
But baby bull sharks could still kill you, and at your knee level.
Yeah, but again, though...
Oh, that's good to know.
It happens,
And
but...
where are those baby bull sharks?
There's a couple locations
In
that
Australia.
oh, don't get hateful now.
But here's the thing, though. Those ones, unfortunately, do happen when they do, but...
Hammerheads are kind of nasty, too.
I love hammerheads.
They are.
They were my mom's favorite shark.
Actually, they were my favorite, too.
My husband tells me you're in sharks. I love that line.
What?
When Ellen says, my husband tells me you're in sharks.
Oh, yeah.
Should I bring up the book, the difference?
Actually...
Or
Yeah,
wanna move
bring
on?
them. Actually, I think you should.
Okay.
We're gonna actually bring up the difference between both. Couple of differences between the book as well as, of course, the.
So I only read to a certain point in the in Peter Benchley's novel, but and we touched on it a little bit and how drastically different the characters are, but specifically, Hopper is sort of like presented as a shark, as a predator, and he attacks Ellen Brody.
Oh, that's
in
right.
the
You were
book.
telling me
Yeah.
that. Yeah. That's horrible.
So, and the fact that she would even be considering, having this little fling, this affair, really sullies her character as well. But the way that Peter Benchley writes, it's mostly narrative, and it's very atmospheric. He did a great job. It's so dark and jarring, and especially in that particular scene, the rape scene, between Hopper and Mrs. Brody, that I actually had to stop reading the book, and I haven't been able to pick it up to finish the book. It's not actually that far in the novel, but it's like a raving stark difference between how Peter Benchley has written his characters and how he helped Steven Spielberg present them on screen.
Well, I
it's
thank
so
God for
different
that.
because the characters on screen are some of my favorite
Endearing.
Cinnamon.
Oh,
they're really fond of cinnamon. They're some of my favorite characters in any film I've ever seen.
Yes.
So I mean,
they're endearing in the movie.
They are. I
Yeah.
have costumes for Halloween that I love these characters.
Yeah.
So you have to give credit to Peter Benchley because the way he wrote was so
intense.
So intense that the characters are just as ugly as the killing of the shark.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I also, honestly, that's the reason why I think that this is one of those examples where the movie actually outshines the book.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because-
Oh yeah, it does.
And not to mention,
it's
it
more
was
endearing.
And
It's
here's the
more
thing:
endearing.
the screenwriting and all that was done by the original writer of the original author of the book,
Right.
which shows you that he was willing to make adjustments on his own novel,
Which was nice.
to make
Right.
Which was good.
to make it more. It's not only its own thing,
Right.
but also still take a lot of things from the book.
I think that shows too how respectful Steven Spielberg is, and
Yes.
that he brought
Him
eventually in,
yeah.
and gave him the respect, and asked him,
Gave him the
Yes.
control to
Right.
make
Which
the movie.
is
Right.
yeah,
It's
and
working
it was a
together like
mutual
that.
respect.
It was. It's
Yeah.
really, because that's the one thing you hear about with book to
yeah.
movie. They're all like, that asshole director.
Yeah, they're
slaughtered my book.
Are always arguing
Right.
about what to take out, what to
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
True.
Yeah.
And they came together and created something new from his book and on film that is they did an amazing job
Yeah,
together.
they did.
So
True. And for me, it's almost like how, and yes, I'm going to say this again. I know a lot of you people have heard me say it. It's like what happened to I Am Legend.
Yeah.
How they completely
Yeah.
botched the original ending and destroyed the message of the story.
Yeah, I still got to read that.
And The Mist. Look
And
at
The Mist
And The
is
Mist.
another
Like,
one.
for
Where,
Christ's
oh my God, what is wrong with me right now?
Oh God, what's his name? Oh, I can see his face. Not attractive. What's his name? He's one of your favorite authors.
Stephen King.
Oh,
There
Stephen
you
King.
go. Jeez.
Yes,
Yes.
I don't know why. I don't know why I was blanking out.
brain
But,
farting.
yeah, basically like
Cinnamon.
Stephen
Stephen
King's
King.
Mist.
Right.
The original story actually had him and the group survive in the end. Where in the movie, the director chose to murder all of them except for him to make the story's ending even darker.
Right. You have a valid point. So usually we're all like, stupid movie ruined the book ending. It's crap. It's always like the movie has ruined the book. But with
Sometimes-
this
This
one,
is the opposite.
This is the complete opposite.
Yeah,
This
which
is
never
the case.
happens.
Right. They did
Yeah.
an excellent movie despite the book.
Yeah, yeah.
But still, that's also the reason why I like Jaws in a way, because it proves that a book can be surpassed by the movie.
They can.
Yeah.
You're very, very
Harry
right.
Potter,
for
in
sure.
a way, did the same thing with
Okay,
theirs.
don't get ahead of yourself, Mr. Retroactive.
Watch it. I read the books and watched
So
the
did
movies.
So did
I actually think that they are better than the books in a few areas.
Well, everyone's
You know what?
interpretation.
I'm going to give him the last three books. Yes, the last three movies are better than the last three books.
Oh, no, they're not.
Yeah.
The three books actually had more detail, had more tragedy, but also very good heartwarming scenes in that one, where the movie couldn't even put that in there.
Right. Well.
Like
focused too
remember
much
the
on
twin
building
brother?
atmosphere.
Remember the two Weasley brothers?
Fred and
Sorry,
George.
spoiler alert. One of them actually dies, sacrificing his life for the other.
Right, and they didn't really.
I
show
can't
that
believe
too
they
much.
took that out. That was bull.
They do, yeah, they did.
Especially since they were such good characters throughout the
wait,
movies.
You just counter approved your point there. You were saying how the books, the movies.
I'm
surpass the
not
books.
saying the movies are. I'm not saying the movies are horrible. They're amazing.
Right.
It's just that I think there's a couple of things they could have added.
They absolutely could have.
Where that's more like a book and a movie are evenly matched.
Right.
Where, like we said before, I Am Legend in the Mist, where sometimes it's the director or the author themselves that ultimately cause all that.
Right.
And of course, all that is done. Well, in this case, yeah, it's pretty interesting that those endings were so different.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for Steven Spielberg for absolutely giving Peter the
full reign
to really make the story
Right.
the way he would believe
The way
would
he
work.
wanted it,
And
yeah.
good lord, if he made it exactly like the book, you already know this movie wouldn't have been as good.
Right. Oh no.
No.
No, it would have been
tragic.
So
much less.
good on him for making the story more endearing for the characters and everyone else. Make you feel horrible that they're dying in this scenario.
Right, exactly.
Pretty interesting, I have to say. All right, now we're going to go on to Jaws 2, which I think is going to be a little bit of a quicker review personally, because for as much as I do think the movie is a little bit better than I originally thought, it's almost like a rehash of the original in a way.
Well, it's an extension. It's just like Halloween.
True,
2.
but
It's
a
a
lot of the
sequel.
scenes are very similar to the original. almost to a point where it's almost blatantly copying.
Well, no, it's not copying. Like, time has passed, you know. It's kind of hard to change sets. Like in Halloween, the main set is the hospital, correct? Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to change sets when you're on an island. Mm-hmm. So, I loved that they brought the orca sunken back in. That was cool.
That was an awesome reference for the original.
That tells you right away where you are, what's coming, you know.
Did you know that the second half of the movie, when they're all out at sea, was technically over in the Gulf of Mexico?
No.
Yeah, they were actually there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they weren't able to stay in the town for too long after the last one, especially since the people actually didn't want to be in another Jaws movie.
Oh yeah, they didn't like how it hurt their tourism, I'm assuming.
Oh no, it didn't hurt their tourism. It actually improved it. The problem is they just didn't want the big crowds. So they actually asked them that maybe don't film so much in our town for right now.
Wow.
I'm going to give it a 47.
You're going to think 47?
Mm-hmm.
With the second movie?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
47 sounds good. That sounds good.
47? Okay, originally, back before I watched the movie again, I would have given this movie a 40 at most. And that's just me being generous. Now that I gotten a chance to watch the movie again and everything, and also being a little bit older, I definitely have to say I'm willing to give it a 45.
Oh, look out.
Because honestly, I think the movie definitely had a good amount of improvements.
It does.
See, now 3 I would probably rate more like a 45.
Well, it's a silly, fun...
Oh, no, I would have rated that 20.
Yeah.
No,
straight up.
Because I still liked it. It was like its own. It was like
it's
a
like
one-off. It's a perfect example
like
of Halloween 3.
Thank you.
It really is.
However, the third movie is more cohesive with plot because
Yes,
it's following the Brody brothers.
By far.
Than Halloween 3
by
is.
far.
With the
However,
first
here's
one
the
and
excuse
two.
for Halloween 3. It was supposed to be an anthology series, and Halloween 3 was supposed to be its own story, only referencing the Halloween movie itself.
Yeah, which
And
I
that's
think
it.
that was stupid.
They should have named it
A different,
sort of like
yes,
Halloween.
Yes,
You know,
I agree.
Pumpkin
I agree.
Land, whatever.
It was supposed to be
Yeah.
called the Halloween Anthology. I don't know why they did it. It's
they're
there.
idiots.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, let it go because the
You
third
need to let
Jaws
it go because
movie-
you're still being a.
The third Jaws movie is way more cohesive than the third.
I
Halloween.
absolutely agree.
Even though the
You
3D
have to
is
give it
absolute
credit.
shit.
It's not shit. It's just fun.
I love
But
the
again,
whole.
it was
I
back
like-
then. I'm willing to let it slide
I
on that
absolutely love the whole
Underwater Kingdom.
underwater park. Yes, I agree.
The Undersea Kingdom
that
was
was
amazing.
so cool.
Yeah.
And all the special
The
effects.
sets, you have to
and,
give
oh
respect
my
to the
god.
sets. The acting isn't phenomenal.
100%.
The story isn't phenomenal.
But the
The
set
animatronics
is,
are not phenomenal, but
the set
idea
and the
is fun.
idea is
Yeah.
great.
You have to just look at it as fun.
Yeah,
It's just fun.
yeah.
All right, so we'll have to do a review of that one maybe later down the line.
he was okay with letting that one go.
He's letting it go. That's fine. It's
Be
fine.
grateful I have.
Jaws 2. Jaws 2.
Now let's go on to Jaws 2 story. Honestly, the story is, again, a little bit too much of a rehash, but not entirely a bad thing.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
You're going to give it an 8?
Yeah, because it is a rehash, but it's a sequel. So
What about you? Honestly, I'm going to give it a 6 because it's a little bit too much of a rehash.
okay, well Michael just chases her around and kills people
I think I'm going to give it a 9.
in Halloween.
You're going to give it a
too,
9?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I
That's the
think as a
premise.
whole it was still a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Even though it may have...
It's a rehash.
I think, yeah, and I don't necessarily think that it was exactly the same.
No, it's not.
It's just carrying on the lives of these
Right,
people
showing
and
them.
it happening again.
Okay,
in a
yeah,
different
I'm going
way.
to boost it up to a 7.
You know,
And seeing that the shark, for some unknown reason, has this obsession with this particular area, this family. It could
Yeah,
be
the
like,
family.
It's the family specifically, but I mean, until you see the third movie, you don't
it's actually
quite
not
know.
the family.
Well, it
Really.
is.
Kinda,
in
but
the fourth movie,
I know.
it's
Totally
personal.
Yes,
Yeah.
true, true.
All right,
It's
so...
But I actually think that's retarded. Excuse my language. I take that back. I hate that word. It was ridiculous.
It is.
All right, so
But
what
it's
would
a franchise?
So what would you guys
Yeah, I
give
know.
for a score for characters? Because personally, I do like how they brought some of the original characters back. It was pretty
9.
cool to see them back. And I think for me, the only real issues I actually had with characters was mainly the teenagers.
Yeah, they're pretty
because
obnoxious.
they're pretty much your standard slasher movie fodder.
Yes.
They are, yeah.
They are.
True
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
They're quite trope.
The only ones
Yeah.
the only ones I would say were worth having them back was most assuredly the Brody family returning.
Right.
As well as, yes, even the mayor. I'm actually kind of glad.
That's why I'm saying it's a 9, because really pretty much the only ones that I could have done a little bit less with were the teenagers.
Right.
And you want to
the
look
audience they're going for.
Yeah,
so.
true.
Actually, there's a deleted scene in the original movie that
Right, you were telling us.
yeah, it was where when all of them were voting for Sheriff Brody to be fired, the mayor was the only one who ever chose to stand up for him.
Right, I think they should have left that in.
Yeah, I should too.
That D
I
villainizes
It actually gives him more development
Mayor
than
Larry.
you think.
It does.
And actually makes him seem like a sympathetic character who's
Right.
learned his lesson from the first.
Exactly.
Yes, but he didn't.
He tries to warn Brody to calm down,
Yeah.
so he doesn't.
True.
They don't even have
However,
to vote on
you
firing him.
also
Yeah.
kind of see that he is a little bit more paranoid
Right.
with the whole shark after Jaws
Absolutely.
situation.
Especially
So
when he goes out
Oh, he
shooting,
definitely is.
shooting the ocean.
He lost his shit.
Yeah, he did.
yeah,
He
so
lost his shit
in my
for
personal
sure.
opinion, their action of firing him may be a little bit more justified.
As far as that
a degree.
action. As
Yeah.
far as
Yeah.
that
As far as
action.
that
As far as
action.
that action,
That should have
yes.
been the only
Refusing-
thing.
Yeah, refusing to acknowledge that is a picture of a shark is like total
Yeah, that
villainy.
was
That's total
ridiculous.
villainy. That's
Yeah.
greed. It makes me hate them all.
But at the same time, you understand that they all saw how he reacted.
Right.
He almost feels almost a little too obsessed
That's true. He
to a
definitely
point
lost
where
it.
that he seems a little crazy.
But I think I would have
But
focused
he's
more
right.
on. Yeah.
That's the problem.
I think I would have had them focus more on the fact that he went a little crazy and was shooting off his gun.
Right. Because
You
they
know,
really
freaking
do
everybody-
present it
yeah.
like, well, just because you keep saying it's a shark doesn't mean it's a
It's
shark.
paranoia.
Right.
Because
It's
you keep
more
saying
like they
it,
think
we're
he
gonna
has-
fire you.
Yeah, it's almost
Right.
like they think he has paranoia, which
Right.
is completely understandable. He literally got attacked by that giant thing back
Well,
in
and
the
he's
first
They
movie.
know.
seen
I'm
all of
certain
it.
that they do know. I'm
Yeah.
certain they all see the picture. They all
They
know.
just don't wanna
they just
lose
don't
business.
acknowledge it. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's all about money.
Yeah.
This is where I'm
They
willing
should
to.
have left the scene in with the mayor.
For once, I'm willing
standing
to
up
give
for
it a
him.
9.
Absolutely.
Personally, because the characters, for as much as I don't like the teenagers, everyone else actually acts pretty damn well in this movie.
Yeah.
I give it a 9, but I have to say my heart is broken that Dennis Hopper,
Yeah.
right? That he didn't come back.
No,
That makes
unfortunately,
me
he was
sad.
actually busy with another movie at the time.
That
I
makes
think.
sense. Well, no,
Not
he
to
was
mention
in the Arctic. Thank you.
No, I'm talking about
Well,
his.
you hear
I'm
about
talking
it-
about
The character.
You hear about his
the
name.
character was
Right. That
sent.
was nice that
That's
they
it.
mentioned
The character was
Yeah.
on the Aurora. Oh
Right.
dear Lord, yeah, he's not coming back.
Yeah, that was nice that they.
I like that they threw that in.
Yeah,
I made
true.
a note.
So you're
of
gonna give
that
it a
I
9
liked.
as well?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9. Yeah.
All right, so honestly,
it's nice to see Ellen too get like a little more character development with
Yeah,
her
yeah.
assy boss. What
Yes.
is his name?
that
All I
don't
keep
know.
thinking of
I
that's
don't
the
remember-
ass. He's
Yeah.
the ass.
It's Ellen's boss. That's
Right.
right. His
Yeah.
assholey boss. Her assholey boss.
true enough.
Um.
Also,
But yeah, no, she was played a. In fact, she played more of the stable one.
Then Sheriff Brody.
Yes, but then later on in the later movies, she plays the
Chief Brody. Sheriff.
She goes wacky, just like
Oh, and the
He
fourth
does,
one,
yeah.
holy macaroni, ma'am.
yes. I know.
honestly, all right, now we're gonna go into music, composed by John Williams once again.
Yes.
Right.
That
Oh,
one.
it's excellent.
That's
Across
a 10.
the board, yeah.
That's a
Excellent.
10.
Yeah, 10.
And I will give you for 3, it's like a 7 or a 5
Yeah.
musically
Yeah.
on Jaws 3.
Yeah.
Oh, just 3.
It's just
Absolutely.
a silly, goofy, fun
Yeah,
little...
luckily
Yes.
enough, John Williams is not involved in that one.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
John Williams.
You can tell.
Yeah, John Williams only did soundtracks for Jaws 1 and 2, and that's
Yeah.
it.
You
Right.
can tell.
I'm so great, and I'm still giving it a 10. Even for the sequel, the music never downgraded
No,
at all,
no, yeah.
which is
And he changed-
fantastic.
He altered it a little
Yeah,
tiny
teeny
bit.
bit.
just
But
like
he
in
altered it in a way that it
second
would
one.
fit,
It's
yes,
still, yeah.
Yes.
and it's
still
still
works.
its own. It's
No,
still
I
part of
give
the
it a 10.
franchise.
I give
Yeah.
it a 10 for
Yeah.
sure.
Same here.
Actually, that's one thing that I know that the first 2 Jaws movies will never change. Is the soundtrack is just fantastic. It's
Right,
phenomenal.
Yeah.
I do like the 2 geeky teenage boys. The guy
Yeah.
that plays Christine. He's
I swear to
very-
God, one of
he's
them
in
looks
The
like
Legend of
Napoleon
Billie
Dynamite.
Yeah, he does kind of.
Jean.
that was
the 2
sweet.
geeky ones are my favorite.
Yeah.
characters.
Of the teens.
Of the teens, yeah.
Yeah, they were sweet.
And then you have to give credit to the hysterical cousin, whose name I cannot recall. She acted hard in that movie.
Actually,
I like the blonde, the one that was left in the in the boat.
Tina.
She was
Poor
actually.
Eddie. He had beautiful, like Harry Styles level
I think
hair.
the cousin, she.
Annoyed the crap out
oh
of me.
my god, yes.
Actually,
she was hysterical, and she
hey,
played hysterical.
So was
quite
the other
well.
girl. So was Tina.
Yeah.
But she was more like, understandably.
You wanted us to do this.
yeah, I
man.
know,
You
but here's
you
the
gotta
thing,
deal
though.
with
I
our
wanted to mention.
tangents.
Remember the girl who rescues the youngest
boy?
youngest
Yes,
Brody?
I felt sad
I have
when
to
she
admit,
died.
that was a brave call and well done for her. Even though she does die in the movie,
Yes, that was
well
sad
done
she
for
died.
her for being a hero.
Right.
Amen.
She saved him. That was,
Well done.
That was so upsetting.
Well
Yes,
done.
She died after.
Such a bummer.
Yes.
Oh,
Honestly, I would have been the same way her. I would have done the same thing, and I would have
would've
died in the
too.
movie.
yeah, exactly.
I would too.
Totally.
So
I
yeah,
would have
well
let
done
him
for
just
her.
lay
And you know
be
what
in the
though?
water.
Remember we both noted that, so the one, it's her cousin.
Oh, the
it's
curly
character,
hair.
the girl with the curly hair.
She like disappeared
She's like
forever.
in no scene,
Right,
for
on the
like
boats
15
and stuff?
solid minutes
Yeah.
of the film. We're like,
And even
my
on
God,
the little
did she die? Did
island.
we miss it?
I know.
And then she's like right there with the other handsome
I
guy.
know.
What's
What
his
was
name?
all that all about?
There's-
How,
I
it's
don't
just
know,
like
maybe she was busy.
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
Not cohesive.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Now we're going to talk about design. I actually like how they put the scar marks on for the burnt
That
scar
was
marks on
interesting.
Jaws. Really good choice on that one. It made him feel a little bit more of a monster,
It
but
does,
still
yeah.
grounded a little bit in reality.
It was gross looking.
Well, it was kind of. It reminded me of probably what I thought of when I saw that was. Remember a little earlier in the movie, not the great white, what's the whale,
Yeah?
Oh yeah, the orca.
orca was on the beach and it would chomp chomp. My thought was, I wonder if those are battle scars from
The shark.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, from the orca.
from the orca, yes,
Fighting-
trying to defend itself.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, that's
what I thought.
That's pretty cool.
That's a great theory.
The effects on the effects on the movie look incredible for what
They
it's
do.
worth. Because
The second one
that
was
looked like an
definitely-
actual orca
It
carcass.
was
Yeah, it was
super
bad.
gross. It was like
Well
hamburger
done.
meat. It was
Well done.
disgusting.
Yeah, and they kept like
Disgusting.
zeroing
Zoom
in on it.
on
I was like, I can't see that again.
Okay.
Quit showing it to me.
Okay, hold on. I am willing to give the teenagers some credit with one other particular scene, is that they combined all the boats to make a float.
Yeah, that
like
was
an
pretty
actual
smart.
barge in a way.
That was
clever.
That was
That
very
was
smart
clever.
idea, because there were some boats that were able to
Ingenuity.
float better.
Ingenuity.
Yeah, that's ingenuity at its finest. Almost in a way what MacGyver would have done if he
Right.
was with a group of
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
So well done on them for at least doing that, and then of course I also like how they actually got the shark to actually pull the helicopter under. That was actually
Yeah,
pretty
that was
impressive.
cool.
That was so
bitchin'.
sad, though.
Actually,
cool, though.
they
It
got
looked
rid of
really
the
cool.
I
scene
thought
of him
for
dying.
sure I wish that he had what?
Yeah, they got rid of there was a deleted scene where they actually showed him dying and getting eaten by the shark.
It's
But they
sort of-
wanted,
it's
but the only reason why
right.
they wanted to cut it out because they wanted to keep it PG.
Oh,
I kind of
bogus.
wanted him to somehow get out of the helicopter.
They already had
But
enough
then,
blood in
but
some
then
of
it
the
would
scenes.
like have thrown the whole element off because it was
Right.
all teenagers.
About the teenagers.
Yeah, so
That whole scene is really
Except, of
upsetting
course,
because
Sheriff
Brody.
It fucks up their it messes up their boats even
That's
more
fine.
with the sails
yes,
and
and
the
another
pieces
really
flying.
intense scene was
Right.
when they all got knocked off, or not all, but most of them got knocked off except for the
Into
little
the
boy,
water.
and then they had to swim to shore.
Right.
I remember when I
Island.
first watched that the first time, I was
It's
like,
sickening. It's
Honestly,
my
that
God,
was
go, run.
that was actually a really smart idea.
yes.
Go to near landmass. That's a great call.
Right.
Yeah,
You were talking about Tina, how well she acted. Like,
Yes.
when she's in the boat.
Yes.
And she's so pale. She
Yes.
looks so.
Yes.
Terrified.
That was really upsetting.
Yes,
that
it was.
very
That's what I'm
upsetting.
saying.
Yeah.
The other girl just annoyed me.
Yeah, she was.
She was like
ridiculous.
beyond.
Yeah, but she was really believable that she.
She
gone
was.
hysterical.
She was, but she was just
Annoying, I know.
Annoying.
Yeah,
the other girl, Tina was way better.
She was
was
much
like
better actress. Yeah.
And then,
Yes.
of course, the rescue scene, another good one right there. And then, like I said, the movie had some really good scenes in there.
And
The
it's
effects
amazing
were
how
pretty
Brody didn't
impressive.
get eaten by the shark the way he was holding on to
It's
that.
Brody.
The way he was hanging on to
Can't
that
kill the- cannot kill the shark.
Come on, think about
power
it, Mom.
line,
Think about it. He's literally
power pipe, or whatever it is.
It's a cable,
Oh,
electric
yeah.
cable. Trust me, there's
Mythbusters
only
really ought to
one
do
person.
something.
There's only one person that could kill that shark, and it's him.
It's gotta
Yeah.
be.
Considering that he
Yeah.
killed the first one.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to point out
Sushi!
that I really
Sorry.
I love sushi.
Okay, now I need to go get sushi after this review.
I really love how they frame the shots with the camera just under the water line.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
not deep enough to really see what the hell is going on under the water, but it's enough to make you hella aware that there is stuff going on under the water, and it's super
Yeah.
creepy. I thought they
Yeah.
did a great job with that because
Yeah.
it really freaked me out.
Yeah, their cinematography was really good.
It was
Sure
impressive.
enough. So what would you guys rate this one?
Which one are we rating again?
We're design.
Oh, design.
I'm gonna give it a 9.
Yeah, me
Because
too.
it's cohesive. If
Yeah.
it's supposed to be a sequel, it's very cohesive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9.
It all looked like the same area,
Yeah, yeah.
despite that it was filmed in New Mexico.
Yeah.
No,
No,
the town
only-
itself
only-
was
Oh,
in the
okay.
same
Yeah,
location.
only
Oh, just
the-
It was the
that
ocean
island.
The
scenes,
connected
yeah.
island,
Yes.
the little
Yeah.
electronic.
Oh, did you also know that island they went on to was actually made of was actually a fake?
It looks like a fake island. Isn't
that
it supposed to be like a
Yeah,
power
the
Yeah,
box?
they actually used
look
they
kind of
actually had a
electric.
they built a platform and actual rocks to put on the
Like
island.
in
to
the
make it-
ocean?
That's
Yeah, in the
crazy.
middle of the
Oh,
ocean.
See, no, I wouldn't film it in the ocean.
I have to admit that was
Sets,
pretty
practical sets.
interesting though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool looking. It looks,
So yeah, a 9
it's
definitely
supposed
gets
to
it
be
for
like
me.
a power plant.
I definitely
kind of
did not
island.
know that it was that part was filmed in New
No,
Mexico.
it looks cohesive. for a
New
sequel.
Mexico or Mexico?
Gulf of Mexico.
Gulf of Mexico. So Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay.
So yeah, now we're gonna do atmosphere. All right, this is actually where I'm gonna say that they. And yes, I did say this before that originally I was going to give it a low score because it was basically in a rehash. Watching it again, and after live commentary from you two, I'm starting to reconsider even saying that at all because the atmosphere itself, now that they get back as an actual sequel, actually does a pretty good job.
yeah, I think
It's pretty
so.
tense. It's very
Yeah.
tense.
Again, definitely give it to John Williams for his score. And not to mention, yeah, even the characters themselves help make that work.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, and for as much as the teenagers, they could have been improved, they did have scenes that made them actually pretty dang relatable in those
Right.
certain circumstances.
They do. They are very.
Yeah,
they're-
yeah.
And you can feel their tension and their
Yeah.
fear. They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for what it's worth, you could tell that they at least tried.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to, just goof off and do whatever.
Right.
They at least tried to
They
do
were
something.
trying to survive.
Mhm.
Yeah. Trying to
Yeah,
fight.
and the atmosphere really hit the tone.
Yeah,
set the
I give
tone
it
for
a
the whole
10.
film.
But
Really?
I'm gonna
yeah,
give it
but
a 9.
I love the whole movie though.
I'm gonna give it a 9 because I miss the more intimate scenes between the characters, like with the three main in the first movie.
True, but
I'm
they
actually
weren't
gonna
in
give
it
it-
though.
I'm still gonna
I
give it.
know.
You just
But
miss the intimacy
I
of
miss the
the
intimacy of the
characters.
characters. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for me, it's gonna be an 8.
And,
All right.
and I feel that influences the atmosphere, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
True. Change mine to a 9, I think.
You gonna go for it?
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
darn it.
I'm sorry.
You're right though.
Because you're not as endeared to the teenagers.
Yes.
You don't
and
want
actually,
them to die.
that was a
but, you know,
big part of the first movie.
That's the main part, in
Yes,
my opinion.
exactly.
Is you want
I
them
don't.
to
I'm
survive,
not
you want them
quite
to
as
win.
endeared as I was in the first movie.
Right.
Oh yeah.
All right, give me a
I feel
second.
it's less frightening, maybe because, not just because of the lack of intimacy through the characters, but also because you know what's happening, you know it's going to happen, so it's not as terrifying as the first.
Yeah, because it's a sequel.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. Let me see.
Billy
Start.
Petal.
No, I was thinking of looking through the scores, double checking my numbers.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, got it. I got it. All right, BilliePetal. Your original score was 47.
Mm-hmm.
Your new score is 45.
Ooh, that's
That's
harsh.
shocking.
That's harsh.
Not entirely. Like I said, a few points off, lower or higher, is not necessarily that big of a difference.
That's true.
It's if you had a drop of score, maybe 10 to
Well,
15
and
points or
it
more.
isn't as good as the first one.
Right.
It is really good.
It is good, but it's
But
not.
it's just
it's
not
Alright.
as good.
No sequel
Yours.
is ever going to be as
Yeah.
good.
Your score that you gave it originally was 47. Your score now is 46.
Oh, so pretty close.
Pretty close, but you
But
did
still.
drop at least 1 point on it.
Yeah.
For me, my original score was 45, and now it's 43. Which is...
So we all underrated it.
I think we all overestimated this film, but
Well,
not
I think
by
we
much.
all overestimated it in that
We gave it a little too much praise.
credit.
Right.
Yeah, too much
and the
credit.
thing
Really
is
start-
and sometimes
When you
it
really
takes,
start pulling it apart, then
Yeah.
you're like,
sometimes it takes like listening to somebody else's interpretation
right.
before you realize, oh yeah, you're right. Good point. You
Right.
know. So
Yeah, so for what it's worth, though, the one common score among all of these movies was the music. Because
yes.
we gave it 10 in both the first and second movies.
Yeah, it was great. Great music.
True. And now we're going to go on to Retroevolution. First, we got to do our usual question. If you were given the director's chair, what would you change about the movie and why? And considering that, yes, even though you had a score of 49, you're still considering it to be a perfect film, I'm thinking we'll just leave Jaws, the original Jaws, out of it.
Okay.
We're only going to stick
I
with
think
Jaws
that-
2 specifically.
I think it would have been nice, like you said, had there been a little bit more
Intimacy.
intimacy
between
with
the
characters. Yeah.
I guess really character development
Yeah.
with the teenagers because
Exactly.
there's such a focus
Yeah.
on the second half of the film
Yes.
for the bulk of the
And
film.
there wasn't really any like intimate.
Right.
You know.
You're not deeply endeared to them. You
No.
don't want them to die horribly.
Yeah.
But you don't want you're not like oh Quint.
I know,
like-
he's my favorite.
Right. It's
Yeah,
not the
yeah,
same.
yeah.
It's
Not the same at all.
So I would give them a little more time to be endeared to the audience.
Focus on
The
the teenagers and developing their characters a little bit
Right.
more.
True enough. And for me, honestly, for what I would definitely change is the story. Try to maybe mix it up a little bit more. Try to take a couple of less references from the original film and really start making it its own story. Still about the Brodies, of course, but at least try to make it their own thing instead of making it almost look like a complete rehash. Other than that, though, and maybe give a little bit more development with the teenagers, because honestly, if you think about it, they could have been amazing characters like the original cast was in the first one.
Yeah.
And I think the only other thing is maybe
The two geeky guys were.
They had the most
they
character
were,
development.
They were the most endearing out of all of them.
endeared, yeah.
exactly. So
And I like Tina.
Yeah.
I think
like
it's
Yeah.
all you need to do is just fix a few things in those areas, and I think that we're gonna be good on that one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and now we're gonna go on to the questions. And honestly, this is gonna be pretty interesting. One of the questions was from a young woman who loves horror movies, and she specifically asked, "Why in the world do you think Jaws is so influential now than it was back in the early 70s?"
I don't think it is.
You don't think it is?
I think it's always been influential.
I don't think it's lost any steam.
No, I don't think it's lost any steam either.
If anything, I think it's helped propel Sharks,
I agree.
more
I
into
agree.
popular,
And it is considered an iconic movie,
It
like
is.
The Birds.
Right.
I mean, it really hasn't.
I think that probably Jaws the first was like, it really, it brought so much attention to these creatures,
Yeah,
that people are really
And the
interested
ocean,
in that. And the ocean
and
and the
just
whole
the-
environment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's hella relevant and very
Yeah.
totally. I don't think it altered in popularity
No, I don't
at
either.
any given point because and props to like the Discovery Channel for like jumping on that
Yeah.
and really they've definitely kept it rolling because
For sure.
I think they're probably why we keep having random shark movies coming out because they're like, hey, remember this?
Yeah.
Right?
They
It's
bring-
awesome.
Let's
You'll
try
love
to-
it.
Let's try to write that one again.
Shark
Right.
Week basically
Yeah.
brought awareness to what sharks really are. They're
Right.
they're not the terrifying creatures we all
Right.
know them, but they also show them that they can be ferocious.
Right.
Depends
it's all
on how
knowledge.
If
you
they're
interact with
hungry or if they're,
It's not, and it
feel
isn't just
threatened.
knowledge though. They have like some really fun, interesting,
Yeah.
yeah. blip stuff in there as well. So it's definitely like to push the
Not
shark
to
culture,
mention-
if you will.
Not to mention, look at all the shark movies that came after Jaws. Just one movie propelled all those movies into existence because of that.
True that, but not very good ones.
Not very good ones, but
Sharknado is
for what it's
classic.
worth,
Come on.
well, Sharknado is technically a funny movie. It's supposed to. It's supposed to be a B movie.
Oh, it's terrible.
But for what it's worth, yeah, I definitely have to say Jaws. First, and I even answer her the same way. Jaws itself is an influential movie all around. It just can't be bested by anyone.
There's some that compare. Bless you.
Bless you.
Oh, don't do that.
That
Thank
one.
you.
Oh yeah, that one
I
was.
wanted another. I mean, another was there, but
But it was not coming through. Yeah, I
Psych.
had those. All right. Another question was, if you guys were to choose a creature that would be for a horror movie, an actual animal, what would you choose?
Ooh, I'd make it like an everyday creature that's like in all like 90% of the homes in America, or in any country.
Well, we already have Cujo, so it's not necessarily
Right.
I think humans are the worst.
Oh.
Like
Touche.
people that what do you call them? Mountain people.
Mountain people.
Well, I don't know how to
Hillbillies?
explain. Not well, kind of hillbillies, but people that have just been away from society way too long. Those
So
are-
yeah, hermits.
Yeah, you kind of just described everybody in the last 2 years though because of COVID.
That's true.
Honestly, for
We
me,
should fear each other.
We
honestly,
should.
for me,
So
I
true.
have to say I would like to see, I would like to see rabbits turn into some sort of demonic creature or something. I mean,
Manicula! Oh!
Yeah.
oh wait, they already did that? Oh, holy hell! Oh, never mind.
It's a children's book. I do believe there's a
Yes,
cartoon.
I think
There's
I've
a
heard it.
It's
heard
super upsetting when you're
Yes.
6. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I already seen one with Courage the Cowardly Dog. That one had some pretty
That was
interesting
pretty
imagery.
dark, yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah, so it's like an everyday critter that you would think is just like a, like a parakeet or anything.
Especially since
Well,
nowadays,
we do have Pet Cemetery.
That's true.
Or a cat, a domesticated cat.
Well, that's what happened in Pet Cemetery.
Right.
Yeah.
It was the cat
Especially
that
since they-
caused all the shit.
Oh, and also, yeah, spoiler alert, they buried a child in there, and then that child came back to life as a demonic
The
entity.
remake was
and
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That
I never
was
saw the
dark.
remake.
That's the one
your
where
friend
the-
here, your Puganator friend here, made me watch it, and it was
That's the one
Ouch.
where
It's brutal.
where that guy gets hit.
Mhm.
Yeah. That was pretty brutal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the first one was more brutal because of the child.
Right.
That I remember.
That was really dark.
Yeah, that was
dark.
probably one of the worst
Ugh.
scenes I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Because that's like every
Sickening.
parent's
fear.
nightmare.
Yeah, that is a horrible
Yeah.
nightmare.
So I
wouldn't
see
want-
both your points. Like a human monster is the worst. Just an ordinary everyday
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
being an absolute ferocious
American Psycho, for
murder.
instance.
He's kind of fun though. I mean,
He is kind of funny. Yes.
But
but
the
I would
fact
also
that he
love to
could
see a
be-
rabbit go on a killing rampage.
That
You
would
know.
be quite funny.
I do believe there is a black and white movie about radioactive bunnies that become giant and terrorize a little town somewhere in the south, obviously.
Okay, here's one. This actually is an interesting question. Did Jaws ever have any video games made based on it? And surprisingly
I
I
enough,
think there was an arcade game of it.
I'm not saying that there isn't, but I'm sure it was not anything like.
It's not going to be like
No.
super.
I actually know firsthand there's an entire franchise based on Jaws.
Oh my god! Seriously?
All started in the NES era.
I could see Sharknado. I don't know
have to
about
find
the
it.
other
I
one.
want to play it. You
That's
have to find
weird.
it. It can't be too like.
Made by
imaginative.
LJN.
That's
Oh.
probably very. That's almost
It's
like
shit.
It can't
wow.
be too. It's a shark. It's in the water.
However,
you can't really like.
You said Super NES or NES?
the original Nintendo Entertainment System.
I'm gonna have to look for it.
You're
on
gonna have to.
Amazon.
You're gonna have to.
You still need to help me find Final Fantasy. I'm still trying to get that one to do
Oh,
on
I
the
gave
stream.
Des mine.
I may need to ask to borrow her
Okay.
freaking
The original?
Yeah, the original Final Fantasy.
I have the original, and then I think what is it? X1 or something like that. I don't know.
Well, you don't
Oh, that's
anymore.
that's Final Fantasy 10.
Okay.
You don't anymore.
No, I mean That's true. I did give them.
I still need to find some more
I can't believe
games
you
for the
gave me that.
channel.
All right,
Daniel.
let's not harp on things.
No,
All right,
just
mistakes
kidding.
made in the fast.
Death is just as important.
Yeah, honestly, there's there were some games in the NES. There were some games on the PlayStation, some PlayStation 2. I think there was one on Xbox. So yeah, Joss had an interesting video game life.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
I think I played it's like you're the shark and you're eating people.
Yeah,
like
basically.
An arcade, the big box.
Yeah, they did have an arcade game. Yes, they did.
Okay, good. So I'm not insane.
No, they actually did have an arcade game. It wasn't entirely successful, but especially since there were not that many people that went to it.
No
but
surprise.
It did at least get some money out of it.
Yeah.
And of course, finally, let me see. The last question. What did he ask? I'm trying to remember. It's been a little bit since I talked to him. Oh, and this is kind of interesting. Who do you think would win in a fight? The Graboids from Tremors or Jaws?
Jaws. I think the shark moves around a little easier than the Graboids.
True, but honestly, I'm like,
where are they going to be fighting? Because
they'll be on the beach.
Good point.
They'll be on the beach.
Point.
Both water and earth are in the territory, and not to mention, it can dig its head out of the sand.
Yeah, but will they drown?
No.
Will the Graboids drown?
No, they can move. Remember, they can move.
Well,
through
the sharks
earth
would
very
die
easily.
without water.
Yeah.
So.
And not to mention, worms have been known to survive in water as well.
I still think
I'm
the
guessing
sharks
you're
will.
thinking the Graboids would win.
I say sharks.
Only by technicality.
They have teeth like razors.
They do. They have
True.
really good.
I think they would
Although
tear
the
them up more
And a
often.
huge.
The Graboids are pretty gnarly. Like.
Remember, they have those
you.
multiple head
Yeah.
cones. Remember?
With the
True.
yeah. I still want to vote for the shark.
Honestly, I would think the shark would have a better chance of taking that thing down.
Well, it's more.
Well,
it's
I
smaller.
like sharks
It would be
better than I
smaller,
like
right?
those
The shark's going to be comparative to the Graboid. It would be smaller, so it could get around.
Oh yeah,
a
the
little
shark would definitely be
faster.
more maneuverable than
I just
the
like sharks
Graboid.
better than I like
Although they
those
can't
things.
swim backwards, as we learned in Deep Blue Sea, unless
Mhm.
their brains have been enhanced by scientists playing God.
Right.
So.
All right, so honestly, now we have to choose what you guys will be reviewing next time. And I think since technically we were never able to do the Tremors movies like I originally promised you guys, I think just this one time I will choose the Tremors movies for you, the first 3 Tremors movies.
Oh my God! I only like the first one though.
Let's do for just 2 at a time. It's easier to do 2, I think.
That is true, yeah. Especially since the movies that we found out with Jaws 3 was a little bit longer than they anticipated.
Yeah.
Plus, they were technically goofing off during most of that time anyway.
Oh, Mr. Review watching, huh?
Okay,
Why do you
so
think I do my job?
okay, so yes.
Why do you think I'm good at my job?
You're
Tremors.
excellent at your
Tremors
job.
is
You're
fine.
excellent.
Tremors is fine. Although
We'll
one of
just do
these
the first
days-
2.
Yes, one of
You
these
wanted
days
to
I
do
want
Dawn
to
of the
do
Dead,
Night
didn't
of
you?
the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead.
Actually, wait a minute. We'll
and
do.
then I also want to do Rocky Horror Picture Show.
All right, hold on. All right, so how about this?
Gotta love the little shorts.
Let's see. Next Saturday is gonna be the 1st. We're already doing another review on that one.
Yeah.
How about we'll do
The following
Night
weekend.
of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead on the 8th. On the 20th. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Take that back. Hold on. 1, 2. On the 5th of June. On the 12th of June, on the 12th of June, we'll do Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. The originals, not the remakes. For the next one, we'll be doing and for, I think, maybe the 26th, we'll do, hold on, I'll have to double check my calendar. I need to make sure I'm doing this right, because I don't want to mess up anything that might be,
you want to announce it later?
no, it's alright. I'll just need to check the calendar. That's all I have to do. Let me see. Alright, here it is. Alright, so, right here, June,
Night
5th.
of the Living Death.
Oh my god, they actually have a holiday called Juneteenth. It's weird. Anyway, on the 12th, we'll do Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead.
Okay.
For the 26th, we'll do the Tremors 1 and 2, and finally on the 3rd of July, which will be, of course, Independence Day, will be coming afterwards. We'll be doing a double feature. We're going to do Rocky Horror Picture Show and Independence Day.
Oh.
A double feature.
Very cool.
One will be Rocky Horror Picture Show, and the other will, of course, be, you guessed it, Independence Day, a day before July 4th. That way we give you guys a little bit of July 4th action.
Okay, so wait a minute. July 4th is what?
July 4th is on the Sunday.
3rd.
Oh, July 3rd, yes.
Yeah. Okay, and that we're doing Rocky Horror?
Rocky Horror Picture Show and Independence Day. And if we have enough time, maybe even the sequel.
Sequel?
I didn't know there was
Yeah, there was a sequel that was made years later.
Oh, right, with your guy Mike. Magic Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Really?
I think so.
Wow. Well, I don't have that one.
Yeah, and
Rocky
then of
Horror
course
Picture
there's
Show
the... Alright. Yeah, they're just getting the schedules ready. I just wanted to let you guys know that right now, with everything that's been happening, we've been making sure that we were getting everything good to go. Also, to let you guys know, we did have some bad news. One of my grandpas, he passed away recently, and it's hit my family pretty hard. So if all you guys have to do is just maybe send your best wishes, and maybe send best wishes to the family. It's been pretty hard on a lot of them, including my Uncle Virgil. He's definitely taken his death pretty hard. So if you guys are willing to send your love and support, that'd be amazing. Also, so I'm thinking that I'm actually going to do a specific review for him. So I want to know, I'm going to try to contact Virgil, and I'm going to have him join on an episode on this channel for the Retroactive's Corner, and we're going to talk about his and his father's favorite movie. I think that would be a great way to celebrate his life in this world, as well as, of course, talk about an awesome movie in return.
Right.
So, again, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for joining us here today. If you guys like what we do, please follow us on Twitch, Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube. And, of course, if you guys want to check it out, we have a Discord server. I'm actually going to get the link right now. Give me a second. But, yeah, you can join us on our Discord. Here we go. We're going to post that right there. And, of course, if you want to check it out, we do have a website. It's MrRetroactive.com. I will be updating the schedule very soon. Unfortunately, I was unable to last night because I was really busy getting everything ready. And so I promise that I will at least get that done very soon. So until then, you guys have any final words?
Nope, other than thanks for having us. It was a good one.
All right. So until then, I hope you all have an amazing day. I'll see you all next time. This is Mr. Retroactive signing out.
Bye.